we're going to get to know Natalia better. Our podcast is about having a safe place to share people's unique stories. And every week we hear some fun, some entertaining, and then some really powerful stories of people. And today we're excited to hear yours. And so let's just get started right away. Like, tell us a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
So I moved different places. First generation American. So my parents lived in like London, met in a club. So my mom's Filipino, my dad's Arabian Pakistani. So it's a crazy
That's why it's
mix.
So beautiful.
Yeah. So crazy mix. Don't have any siblings. And then when they came here, they moved to San Francisco. They moved to Texas eventually, from Arkansas, and so like different places. But they were they're like, my mom had me when she was 40. So not only is she like a lot older than me, she has like a cultural, still like really old school like Filipino traditions. And then here you are growing up a child with that's full blast American, and they're like, oh, it's like one side of a culture, and then really
what's her traditions like that are so different?
They're like very like Filipino women are very like submissive type of quiet, and I'm the complete opposite. Oh my God. So opposite. And like they're very studious, and like they concentrate on just one thing. Like my mind goes 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like it's just so like you think of a typical like Asian chick. That's what they thought I was gonna be. But yeah, I was completely.
Do they live here now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
they live here. But yeah, it was difficult like growing up.
Did she not like it that you were so much like the opposite of her?
Yeah. And then my dad's the same way. He was like, oh, well, my brother's daughters, they're like doctors and lawyers, and you should be this, and you're doing the wrong thing. You're just like, oh yeah.
I mean, you said Pakistani
and Arabian.
So they are actually super conservative with their
Yes.
daughters, especially, right?
Yeah.
So how did that work out?
It was very difficult, and there's part of I guess my dad's life that he was, they were so used to having women below them.
Right.
From the culture that they were, growing up. And then, so, and I was the total opposite, I'm just like, oh, so I like talk back when I want to, or like even cuss, when I wanted to, which I'm like, oh my gosh. But, and so there was times in the moments where he was like abusive because of the culture that he grew up. He probably saw his dad like beat his mom all the time, and so I guess that's what he was just replicating,
So how old were you?
That's what I hear.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard that before.
Yeah. I was real young. Like I remember being 3. I remember like incidents where my mom had to go to the hospital and she had to like lie to the police.
So your dad abused your mom.
Yeah, but I guess in his head it was like cultural,
Yeah.
But and so like I grew up like resenting my parents, resenting my mom because she wasn't like woman enough to be like, you shouldn't do this, and she was like this, submissive Asian woman that's just like.
Are they still together?
They are, but it's one of those like it's kind of like cheaper to keep her kind of things, and I think in their culture they don't get divorced,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you say it, you get married, and you're like.
But is your mom still an abused woman?
No,
or not
thank
anymore?
God, no.
So how did that?
So when I was
change?
16, it was like repetitive. Like every 2 years, he would like, like be called on the police and stuff like that. But then finally 16, I was like, I'm had it. So it was to the point where I thought he was going to like kill her because I was just like hearing all these screams and like they were in the bathroom and I was just like terrified. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to like the back of the dance room because I used to be a dancer. And I called the police, but I was also scared that he might do something to me, which he's never done in the past. He just did it to my mom. So I was like, oh, can you tell if they come? Can you tell them that the neighbors heard some commotion? And that's how they came over. And so, yeah, he went to jail for a little bit. And there was like maybe one time where he was like about to happen again, but I got so angry and I was like, if you ever touch mama, I will beat your ass like myself. And he's never done it since. So I guess like that scared him enough, or I don't know, or either that or they're too old now. I don't know. Who knows? But
Do you and your mom ever talk about that? Or did you back then?
I guess no, not really. Like I went to Thailand with her in June, and we kind of like talked about how, you know, her life is her life, and I kind of like don't want to be any part of it, I guess. And she was like, well, you know, you don't have to put like salt to the injury, you know. And I was just like, oh well, you know, I kind of like you see so much stuff year after year, and then growing up as an adult, you become like immune to it, you know. And you see like what an American woman should be, like powerful, you know, stick to, you know, what's right from wrong. You don't ever let a dude like beat your ass, you know, for no reason. And so like I guess I grew up resenting her because I wanted her to be somebody that I guess she wasn't, and I couldn't understand that because I was American, you know. But as I get older, I could see it, but it's like, and then everything that he ever said or anything that she would say, she would always stick with him. So in my head, it was like it was a sign of weakness, but I know it was like also mixed with cultural and.
But she didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So when you were a child, though, like how frequent was that?
It was pretty frequent, to the point where like I would wake up in the middle of my sleep and they're like arguing, and like you could hear like stuff flying, and like it's not like a good, healthy, you know, thing to witness every day. And so
did that affect your relationships like with men at all, or like how do you know different? Like, because I mean, if you have no siblings or anything, like how would you know when you got in a relationship? Was it just people around you?
Yeah, like I never saw what's really you're supposed to be like, I guess. I kind of just had to
Yes.
yeah, like you're just like trying to figure it out. Oh, that doesn't work. I even had an ex that kind of like was you know, just kind of violent, you know, but
physically,
like he would pull my hair.
That's abuse.
Yeah, and so that was in college, and then I was like, yeah, this is not healthy, you know. And then I'd have friends that I guess have witnessed like good marriages, so they're like, yeah, no, that's not, you know. So it's like I felt like it's like with relationship, you're like treading water, trying to figure out, oh, will this work? Oh no, I'm drowning. Oh, let me go see if I can work this way, you know. But I knew I'd never wanted anybody like my dad. And then realizing that, I guess I wanted their approval somewhat, I guess, from being a girl, you know. And there was this guy that I was dating at the time, and everybody was getting married around 27, 28. And everyone's like, yeah, why don't you get married? You know, da da da. And this is the first guy that I lived with that I actually told my parents. And culturally, you don't really do that unless you're getting married. I didn't know that until like later on, you know. And they were like, yo, you should get married to him. And I guess we were in the place where we're like, all right, you know, age.
How old were you?
27 when I got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you were together for how long?
We were together like 2 years prior.
Okay. So that seems about right.
Yeah, but there were so many signs that were like, oh, we would argue, and I guess I was replicating what I saw because that's all I knew, you know. And then I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Like we were just like arguing and yelling and throwing stuff, and you know, it's not healthy at all, you know. But so I was just basically replicating what I saw.
Right.
And it wasn't healthy, and so we ended up getting divorced literally like a couple months later, separated.
Wow.
Yeah, so we didn't even make it a full year. But I don't even regret any of that because it taught me so much.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me so much. Like it taught me exactly what I did wrong, and it was basically like I guess it was like a little part of my dad in me, you know, that I was like, oh, I never want to be that type of person ever, you know.
What did you do wrong?
Like I would be angry in 2.5 seconds, or I'll like he was like having pizza in his hand, and I like flip the pizza like in a fly, and I like call him all sorts of names, like which no.
So you were like kind of aggressive.
Yeah, I was aggressive. Yeah, but I wasn't like beating his ass or anything, you know. Yeah. So, but it's still like a form of aggression, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's real difficult, but I don't regret it at all. It was a hard period of time where I didn't like date anyone after a year or so. And yeah.
Are you dating anyone now?
Just, talking.
That's good.
Yeah. There's someone in particular, but we'll see.
Is it new?
Yeah, it's very new.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
He's
awesome. But, in my last relationship, we were together almost for 3 years, and I did everything perfect. Like, I was the total opposite of what I used to be,
Yeah.
And then I found out he cheated on me with this girl that was like 17 years ago. And he was married. But anyways, but side note that I was like, oh, I'm so proud because I did everything that I was supposed to. Never called him out his name, never raised my voice. Like, all those things that I used to do or saw when I was little, like, I was so, like, perfect of what I thought.
So he was married?
He was married.
But you didn't know?
No, like, he was in the process of getting divorced.
Oh.
And he was like, oh, yeah, I got some traffic tickets and da-da-da. But really, he was like.
Still living with his wife?
No, he was separated. He was going to court. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh.
But that's kind of different, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can date someone that's like not officially divorced yet. But was he still in the marriage though?
Yeah, he was still in the marriage.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So it wasn't like he was really separated.
Yeah, really not. No, just living in different,
And then he cheated on you with someone, a 17-year-old?
Yeah, the girl was like in college. I was like, oh my gosh.
And how did you find out?
She like found me on Instagram somehow.
Oh shit.
How long ago was this?
We broke up in like April.
So just recent. A little bit ago.
Uh-huh.
Was that devastating for you?
Were
you in love with him?
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
Aww.
It's okay though. I'm over it now.
So she found you on Instagram and said what?
And she was like, oh, she messaged me and she was like, I want to talk to you about my my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah.
Currently.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you're like,
and I'm like, what?
Or like,
and it was on Easter when I found out. So I'm like, oh, great.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, oh, is this a sign from God that I need to like redo my life or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So
she said your boyfriend and I.
No, she said, I'd like to talk to you about my boyfriend.
Oh my gosh. You guys had been together 3 years.
Yeah.
And you had no idea.
No idea. I remember seeing this one girl like just randomly looking at my Insta stories, like seeing who sees it, I barely look at it, but the one time I did, and there was just some random girl that I was like, oh, she's not in the fitness industry. She doesn't do anything like remotely the same, you know.
So was your ex in the fitness industry as well?
No, I don't talk to people in the fitness industry. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic. Right. But yeah, so I just found out, and then I saw her, and I was like, oh, friends with, you know how you can see like mutual friends. Yeah. And I asked him about it. He was like, oh, it's just some friend or whatever. But that was like when we first started dating. So how
weird that it's almost like always an instinct. Like why would you even ask him about it? Like, that was
that's the thing. Like, I never knew anybody to be like, here, these are the red flags. Yeah. You need to like watch out for this. And, you know, my best friends are still in the same, you know, they're starting to figure out the red flags. They might be better than I am because I'm not one of those girls that'll like drive by dudes' houses to see if another chick is there or to look in their phone. I just don't do that. I just feel like,
I wouldn't either.
I don't really do that, but my friends do. And I guess they're like excellent detectives, but I just don't have the attention span to just, I don't know.
So what is your type of guy? Like, who do you date because you don't date fitness industry people, which we'll talk about your profession later. But like what is your type of guy? Like, you're you're kind of single, so what type of guy do you like?
You know, there's just not
no
a type. No, just someone that that is like God-fearing, and that helps a lot too, you know, after all. That is family oriented, that has to have like a good job, you know, just the basics, you know. I don't date anyone with kids anymore.
No.
No.
So did the 3-year one have children?
He had one son.
Okay. Was that a problem?
It wasn't a problem, but I feel like it was one of the most difficult things to handle.
How old was he?
He was 41.
No, the
child.
son.
Oh, the son.
I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
damn.
No, the son he was 7 now. 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why was that difficult with?
I guess because of his cheating self, it was difficult for me to, I was open. I'm like, I would like to meet the mom, because all my best friends are single moms. So, I'd be like, as a respect, I would love to meet her,
Right.
Especially if I am in,
Yes.
seeing the son, And I remember him giving like some, she doesn't want to meet you. But it makes sense because of what he was doing,
Wow.
And I was so open. I was like, I would love to meet her, and just as respect. And like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, it's so annoying. Like, you just try to do the best you can. And then I just feel like it's one less thing that I just have to worry about. That's why I don't
Mhm.
Yeah.
anymore. I'm like, no, thanks.
Right.
Yeah. And I just like to, I love traveling. So I'm like, oh, let's just up and go one day. But
Yeah.
You can't do that when you have kids,
Right.
So
I love that. That's
just
so
the,
cool.
like the cool lifestyle.
So do you use any dating apps at all?
No.
No.
Me neither.
No.
I do.
And that's okay. Wait, I thought you're taken. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you had a boyfriend.
Yeah, for like 4 years. I'm just kidding.
Whitley, what do we have to talk about?
There was a great app called Sizzler that they matched you by your bacon preferences.
Stop
Oh.
it. There's
Well,
bacon.
bacon's important.
Almost burnt.
Almost. burnt.
Almost burnt.
It's not as good as clowndating.com.
Oh my gosh,
No.
that's so scary.
Is dating is bacon how you like your bacon a deal breaker in dating?
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God.
For sure.
Or even if they know how to cook the bacon, that's a
yeah.
deal. Like,
I
do you
can see that.
microwave it or do you put it on the stove?
Yeah, I didn't like how Gino made turkey bacon at first, but now I kind of like
You
it.
got over that.
But I like the real fatty stuff.
That was
With,
a
like,
big
crispy.
turning point in your relationship.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Compromise.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll have turkey bacon.
Yeah, that's good. Nice and healthy.
wow.
I like it. I like
So, tell me about so you got divorced and then dated someone else and then dating in between. Like, do you have any crazy dating stories at all?
No.
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 I
Like
can't
weird
say.
first dates or something.
No.
No.
No?
No.
Do you normally meet people out or how did you meet the new one? Can you even say?
I guess through Instagram.
But that's how
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
meet people.
Yeah.
online.
So-
Yeah. That's
so I don't
interesting.
think of Instagram as like a dating
It's
app.
not.
It's
No,
I don't
yeah.
think it is either.
Everything's a dating app.
Right?
yeah, really.
Don't
Yeah.
kid yourself.
That is true too.
That is
Yeah.
very true.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Amanda Murdoch will be very mad that you said that. We've
I
had
know,
Amanda
that's why I
Murdoch.
said it.
Yeah.
Amanda Murdoch is a friend of
Of
ours.
mine.
Mhm.
She was
Oh.
on our show a few episodes back, way back, and she talks about how LinkedIn is not a dating app and it makes her very mad. So some people that are listening might feel the same.
But it kind of is. People reach out.
Yeah. It's just any way to connect with somebody, So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, would you want to get married again?
If you asked me that a couple years back, I would be like, no, but yes, now.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you want kids?
That
Your
part
own.
I'm not quite sure about.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite sure.
No.
You
I
might
don't
change
know.
your mind.
Yeah, I
when you
might
meet.
change my mind when
Yeah.
I meet the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your fitness. Like, you are a fitness model. You have done shows, right?
Mhm.
Competed in shows. And is that what you do as a profession too, or is that a side job?
I am actually a teacher.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are?
Yeah.
What do you teach?
I teach special ed. I teach an autism
Oh.
unit.
At school, like a school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
What?
Yes.
Like,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Is it a high school or
Middle school.
middle school?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I bet they
Wow.
love you.
They do. They're yeah.
All the students probably like, ooh,
So how'd
she's
you
hot.
get into that?
Just by I was training one of my clients that was a librarian, and I was in nursing school at the time. And I was like talking to her. I was like, oh God, I hate nursing school, but I love the teaching part. And she was like, oh, you should come work at our school as a teacher assistant. You might like it. Well, I did, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was a teacher assistant for behavioral kids that have emotional
Oh yeah.
disturbance in middle school. And I had a blast, and I was like, "Yep, this is what I want to do."
Wow.
And
Yeah.
how long have you been doing that?
I've been in the education system for 9 years.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Did you?
I had no idea. No, that's awesome though.
yeah, I love
With
it.
autistic kids?
Autism kids, ADHD kids, emotional disturbance, learning disabled,
Wow.
speech impediment.
Does that get stressful ever or make you emotional or you just love it?
Yeah, it doesn't make me upset
No.
at all. No. I remember this one case that I had maybe when I taught elementary. I had a kid that got abused, and her dad abused her. So that it internalized me because that's
Right.
happened to me. So I was like, oh, it had nothing to do with her disability. It was just part of being in the school system.
Right.
You get any kind of situation.
Well, that's what I mean. Like some of the kids that you come in contact with,
Yeah.
like their story, like if that is hard, because, working with children and stuff that you can't, in the system, you can only do so much. Like
You're
you have
right.
no, so I didn't know if that like affects, if there's some crazy stories with kids ever.
Yeah, there's some, there's some kids that are like suicidal. There's some kids that are like pregnant in middle school. There's one 11-year-old that had twins a
What?
couple
Oh
years.
my
Yeah, it's intense.
But you help them, so that
Yeah.
has to be fulfilling.
Yeah, and I just think, I never had somebody that I could just vent to and talk to when I was going through that. So I guess that's the reason why I became a teacher for, the behavioral and emotional side, because I had no one to talk to growing up. Nobody.
So I was just going to ask you, like, so your dad abused you too?
No, thank God.
No.
No, it's just my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
all that.
But it takes a toll on you mentally,
Oh, no, it
you
does,
know?
for sure.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I always wanted to be that one person that was like, oh, if they never had anybody at home, I wanted to be that person.
That's good. That's kids need that. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
important if they have no one else.
Yeah, especially if it happened to me, I feel like there's somebody, maybe one kid out there that feels the same way,
Mm-hmm.
But you like on your social media, you are a trainer. Are you a trainer
Mhm.
too? Okay, so you teach.
Yes, I don't know how I make time for all this.
I know,
don't
and
either.
how you travel.
Yeah.
Like it's school year and stuff.
Yeah, I just had, being a teacher gives you a little bit of flexibility, which is nice. If I ever want to go to administration, it'll be a little bit harder, but
Yeah.
that's if someone
I want to ask you a question about the autistic children, only
Sure.
because one of our friends who has also been on the show has
Uh-huh.
a son that has Asperger's.
Oh.
And she, for me, it was the first time hearing this, but she has always believed in not letting them be within their disability, but pulling them out of
Mhm.
because they want to do nothing. They want to just kind of be on their own. And
Yes, they
whatever.
isolate themselves.
Right. And
Mhm.
she has never believed in it and just naturally on her own self decided to not allow him to do that and pull him out. And
Mhm.
he has done amazing with it. And now
Oh,
I heard
wonderful.
another story about a lady that did the same thing, and her son is now going to college, which
Yeah,
was
it's awesome.
never thought that could be possible. So
Oh,
is
yeah.
that what you do too?
Mhm, that's exactly what I do. We kind of like force social skills on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a process, but we try to get them in Special Olympics, anything social. My students are high functioning, so they're out in all gen ed classes. So they might be really low, like they might not be able to read, but they're at least getting the social aspects,
Yeah.
talking to a girl,
My
talking
little brother,
to,
that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
what-
really?
Yeah.
What does
Aw.
your little brother have?
I don't know. It's like such a small percentage. It's like not autism and it's not Asperger's, but the test results, like I've seen the sheet and it just came back and it said MR, which means mentally retarded, but it's
Mhm.
a certain type of it. So I don't know what it's called, but he is in the special ed classes and he does like Special Olympics and now he just
Aw.
got a job. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So we
know.
do all like stuff like that,
Yeah.
like trying to teach them how to, fill out a job application,
mhm.
like if they are able to like work at a grocery store, things like that. So anything repetitive
Yeah.
that helps.
It's
Um,
good for them.
Yeah.
It's really good for them.
Oh wow.
And I've seen it. Like I remember having one 6th grader that was completely by himself, didn't like talking to anybody, doesn't like sharing, and then now he's like in one of the best like technological schools in high school that you have to apply to get in.
Oh,
Wow.
Which is so he's like an amazing success
But aren't
story.
they
That's
like
awesome.
aren't they so smart? Isn't that like part of the like they're so
There's a big range. There's
Okay.
like the Asperger's is a big, like, you think of it as an umbrella, you know.
Okay.
So they're different varieties of their intelligence, their IQs. You know,
Okay.
it's like that spectrum, you know.
Okay.
So it can go any way. But yeah, you could have like the really, really smart, you know, kid like in the TV show, Big Bang Theory, you know. that has-
Sheldon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's extremely smart. But then you can have a kid that is very social and doesn't know really anything academic, you know.
Okay.
That's
so it's
Tanner.
a big, so it's
Super
a
social.
big umbrella.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
Do you like fitness is a huge part of your life, right?
Mhm.
Always has been.
Yeah, I've been active ever since I was little. I did swimming, I danced. I was gonna do it professionally until I hurt my left knee.
Like, what did you
Aw.
dance? Like
Ballet, jazz,
oh,
tap.
so you did the whole thing.
Yeah, I did the whole
yeah.
thing.
Oh my gosh.
Point.
Where
Yeah.
did you go? What
I,
studio?
it was one in California and
Oh.
Arkansas that I had to like fly to go to, and then we had it was
Oh my
it was
goodness.
difficult.
You flew to a dance studio
Yeah,
from here?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How often?
Not that often because we had like private instructor that came that lived out there, but she would come. She like lived both places, and so she would. We had to. That's why we had to make a dance studio
So
at
you
my
had a dance
house.
studio at your house.
Yeah.
So you just dance by yourself?
Yeah,
Why
that's-
didn't you go to class?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's
Your
my parents.
parents,
Yeah,
okay.
they are very overprotective. They didn't want me to go to
Wow.
sleepovers. They didn't want me to have any friends. I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, I'm a little social
So were
butterfly
you-
now.
Yeah.
When did you become rebellious ever?
Oh God, yes.
You did.
It hit my sophomore year, like after I got
high
out of
school.
private school. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, I would sneak out. I was doing drugs. I was drinking every day. I didn't listen to them. I would never come home. I was just, yeah.
Wow.
I was like, and I like remember being angry, and I worked at the mall, and I threw like a pretzel at him because he was like yelling and embarrassing me like in front of everybody.
Your dad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a big pretzel.
Yeah, you know those amazing
Wetzel's
pretzels.
pretzels.
Yeah. You know those amazing pretzels that you get at the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You threw a pretzel at your dad.
Yeah.
Did you hit
In
him?
his face. Yeah.
Oh, did you get him?
Yeah, I got him, and he was like, "Oh," I was like, "What?"
So what, you're 16 at this point?
Yeah. And I got a card. Never was home. They were always looking for me, and I'm like, and I always hide at my best friend's house. They would show up, and I'm like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving here. But yeah, I'm surprised that I even like went to college or not end up in jail. Like I really am very surprised. 'Cause I
Where did
could've-
you
Wow.
grow up, or where'd you go to high school?
In Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what's your relationship like today with your dad and your parents?
It's tolerable. Tolerable.
Tolerable.
Yes, I have forgiven him. It took many of years. Like he had a triple heart bypass when I was in college, and I didn't even want to see him. Like I was like, "Oh, you can die right now," and I don't care at all.
Because
know?
of the abuse that
Yes.
yeah.
And then finally, I was able to forgive him because I realized if I don't forgive him, I would take that burden and that
With
hate
you.
Mm-hmm.
with my other relationship
Mhm.
with any guy that I dated.
But you're a very, I see on your Instagram, you're a very spiritual person. You have a very close relationship with God. So
Mhm.
did that help you with forgiving him, or has
Yes.
it always been like that?
I went to private school, so I guess religion has been part of my like upbringing.
Okay.
But and then I'm not. I was brought up Catholic, but I'm not Catholic anymore. I'm
Mhm.
just non-denominational
too.
Christian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's more or less rules than
Yeah.
more of a relationship, which is good. And I think just being able to have a good church, I don't go to church anymore, which I should, but you know, having those spiritual people around you kind of help.
What church do you go to?
I used to go to Life Church in Fort Worth, and then Shoreline in Dallas. But yeah, it was nice. I really think that does help. But then you just have your friends or anybody you. I always had like older people that I hung out with, like they're maybe 20 years, I guess, because I don't know. I guess I grew up really fast, so I'm able to hang out with older people like with no problem.
When you're an only child, so I feel
Yeah.
like kind of
And so, like with their wisdom and what they said, it was an older person that they were like, yeah, if you don't forgive your dad, you're never going to like be successful in any dating or any marriage.
That is absolutely true. Now,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about, like you said, you were doing drugs. How bad did that get?
Well, I wasn't doing heroin or crack, but nothing too bad. But
Okay.
yeah, I was like high every second, and lean and all that, just
Partying.
yeah. I didn't really care, but I figured as long as I made straight A's, I'm good. Yeah,
Mhm.
And did
Like
your
Nicolette.
parents? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your parents have any idea that you're partying like that, like drugs and stuff, or are they
No,
just clueless?
Totally clueless. If you went to my parents right now and be like, hey, so what is Natalia's like favorite color, or what's the most like, they don't know anything about me.
So who do you like? Who would be
No,
like your
I know.
family? Like you have friends that are family. Did
Yeah,
you kind of
I have
create
a
your
best
own?
friend that her family took me in during that time, and
Aw.
still currently. So every holiday,
You're with them.
I'm with them.
I was gonna ask you that next.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holidays and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
Rachel's family is amazing. Yeah, they took me in. Whenever my crazy dad would knock on the door in high school, like, where is she? I'm like, oh, she don't want to come out, But yeah, they were the emotional support,
Yeah.
Well, that's
They're
good.
awesome.
And still are.
and
That's
still
awesome.
are. Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
know.
Well, what I want to do is we're going to end this show with all that, but I want to come back into the next show with I want to learn all about the fitness industry that you're a part of, like how you became a fitness model, how you do the shows, the preparation for it,
Oh,
the
yeah.
craziness of it. I want to know
What you
all
eat.
the details.
Yeah. Oh,
what you
gosh.
eat,
Don't
what you
eat.
Don't eat.
Don't look at my stories with the Oreos.
So we'll come back in just a little bit. Have a wonderful day, everyone.